in London, for me, I was going to a dance company at base called Heels and Feels. And they just inspired me in like a way that kept me going through my depression. And then I started up this dance, mindfulness and dance company, just to kind of help people because it was a really bad time. I think everyone was really, really struggling. And I think it just gave people like something to do, like to release and just kind of promote mental health as, something that we can all talk about and we can all kind of work on together. There's no experience needed. You can literally have two left feet and jump on the spot at Mind and Moves and we'll cheer. Like it's not like, you don't have to be a good dancer. And in the process, people have become really good, confident dancers, which is like a bonus, like a plus. Everyone loves dancing. Everybody loves dancing. And I think the thing about it is that the pressure as well to be good at it. So I think everyone should come and give it a go. And I know anxiety, a lot of the time people will message or see me on nights out in Jersey and be like, I really want to come to your classes, but I'm so anxious. And I think once you get in the door, it's actually just getting there. That's the scary part. And then once you're there, like, we really take care of you.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by Mind and Moves founder Joelle Elizabeth. How are you doing, Joelle?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, not bad, thanks, not bad. I always start with the same question, no matter who my guest is, and that is, have you always been sporty or active since a young age?
No, in an answer. I've always been performance, like a performer, but I was never like a sports day kind of girl. But I guess, yeah, dancing as a child, I always did, but I didn't do it, like in class. It was more like an at home, like I was singing, dancing, acting. Um, yeah, it's just a bit of a drama rather than sports.
Yeah. When talking about dance, obviously that's what we're going to talk about a lot today. Um, when do you remember your first time you went to a dance class or went to an actual class where it was planned and routined and you got taught how to do it?
So probably not until the first one I can actually ever remember is probably I was 16. And Emma Jane, am I allowed to say names on here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Emma Jane, she teaches over here, came into Holia, the school I was at, and she, yeah, did it was like on at lunchtime because I did performing arts. I always like did a little bit of dance in there, but nothing like major. And she was on a lunchtime class, and I went to the class, and yeah, I just loved it. But then at 16, like there's nowhere to really kind of join. It's kind of something you do as a child. And then I didn't go to my next dance class till I was in London, and I went to a heels one. I think I was about 24, 25. So I was very late to the game, yeah.
Yeah. Were you a natural straight away? And obviously there's different kind of dances as well, different types, different
Mm.
styles. Were you a natural from the start?
Yeah, I think to start that late in life and do as well as I've done, I like to think I'm a natural, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, there's different styles and what have you. What is your favorite style? What would you say is your style that you're known for?
Definitely heels. Because I don't like to just see dancers, a dance class. I link it to like mindfulness and, for women to connect with their divine feminine more as like an expression and exploring your own body and your own feels. Um, so yeah, I would definitely say heels because I think for women, it really helps you connect with yourself in a way that, you might not in other classes. So yeah, I think definitely heels for me.
Yeah, definitely. We'll come on to that mindfulness side of things a bit later when we go into mind and moves a bit more. But you first worked with kids in London. We'll come on to who you worked with in a minute. But for you, were you a natural when it comes to teaching as well and taking those classes?
Yeah, I think because I was 8 when my sisters were born, my twin sisters. So I feel like I naturally became like a nanny figure without, as a big sister, you always want to look after. I think because I was 8, I was a lot older. So by the time they were 3, I was like 10, 11, So I think naturally I've always kind of been able to look after kids. Um, and I used to make the twins like make up dance routines, and they'll probably tell you a traumatizing story, but I think they loved it really. Um, no, I used to always like help them make dances and stuff. And, I was always that kid that would make my friends make dances in the playground. So I think I've always had a bit of like a leadership like personality. So when that comes to classroom vibes, I think as long as you're fun and as well, like kids will always follow.
Yeah, yeah. Did you always know, obviously, over there you taught kids and what have you for the first time? Did you always know that is something you want to do? Obviously, you're still doing it now. Is that always been the plan?
Yeah, I love kids. I love working with kids. Like at the moment, I'm currently like in a position where because I nannied after I worked where I worked in London, I nannied. I went into a private nannying. Um, and like I'm in a position now, like with the retreats and everything's really like doing really well. I'm so grateful, but I don't need to be nannying, but I still do like just 3, 4 times a week, like in the afternoons, because I just love it. Like I feel like kids bring you such like they just kind of ground me, like the things they talk about. It just makes like life feel so much easier and more simple. So yeah, I love being around kids.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. Whilst you're over there, you told me that you work with Janet Jackson and her son as well. How, firstly, what was that like the first time you met her? And just how good was that?
Like even talking about it now, it feels like I'm lying. Like it's like I think for me, because Janet Jackson was like, Janet Jackson, Britney Spears, J Lo, like growing up, like especially Janet Jackson was like my dance idol. Like I was obsessed. So the day when, the receptionist came in and was like, okay, so we've got Janet Jackson outside. I was like, right. They're like, and she's just booked a private dance class for her son with you, and she's gonna come in. I was like, what the like, in your mind is like the whole thing was really surreal, but yeah, it was amazing. It was like I could have just stopped my career then.
Yeah, yeah. Ticked all the boxes. How much did you learn, or did you get a chance to learn from her as well?
Nothing like to be honest, it wasn't really like because it was more for the child
Yeah,
and it was more about him like it, and obviously you have to keep a professional front. Obviously I wanted to be like, tell me all your secrets, like why are you so amazing, but you just have to act, she's a normal person, she's a normal client, and just actually I actually probably learned more about the experience itself and how like everybody's just a person, like everybody has this, people have these like huge pedestals, and I think that she was so nice and so normal, like she was like your normal person, polite, like it kind of that I learned more from the situation rather than the dancing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel just thinking about it now? Did you feel under pressure knowing you were teaching someone like that in terms of
I,
dance
I couldn't
dance
I
career?
couldn't think about it. I couldn't think about it. I just couldn't think about it. I just had to like it was like, have you ever been on stage? Like when you go on stage and then everything's just a blur and you can't remember it properly. Like I think you just go into like auto. Yeah, it was yeah.
Amazing, amazing. What an experience.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Mind and Moves now, why we're here and yeah, why we're here. In a nutshell, what is Mind and Moves and when did it all begin?
So Mind and Moves actually came about in lockdown. Um, I know people had like a really terrible lockdown and like people's mental health really suffered, but for me, I actually had the best year of my life. Like everything just kind of came together. Like I came back from London. I was really heartbroken. I'd had my first heartbreak and I moved back in the February Um, and then COVID hit in March, so it was like I'd come home at the right time. But in London, for me, I was going to a dance company at base called Heels and Feels. And they just inspired me in like a way that kept me going through my depression. Like I'd be so low, but I'd have a reason to get up and go to class and be surrounded by these empowered women. And they were all so nice. And I think everyone has this expectation of dance class. If you're not good, then, people are going to be like, why is she here? But for the first time, I really experienced that like community with them. And then when I came back to Jersey, like I couldn't really find that. Like I could find amazing dance classes, um, but there wasn't like that family kind of sense. So I used my time to kind of study. I did a lot of mindfulness and trauma safe meditation courses and dance psychology and stuff like that online. And then I started up this dance mindfulness and dance company, just to kind of help people because it was a really bad time. I think everyone was really, really struggling. And I think it just gave people like something to do, like to release and just kind of promote mental health as, something that we can all talk about and we can all kind of work on together rather than just being sat at home, but, like come together as a community
Yeah.
and help each other through. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And I've obviously looked at your Instagram page and what have you, and you've been very open about your own experiences on there as well. How important is it to kind of speak out about it and tell your experiences, and then that may feel not more welcoming, but encourage others to come out and
Yeah.
come to your classes as well?
I think like authenticity is like the most beautiful thing ever. And like I read this quote once and it was like perfect isn't relatable. So you have these Instagram pages where like everything's perfect and but it's kind of like there's no connection. And I feel like to have connection, you have to be real, you have to be authentic. And for me, like when I was at the worst of my mental health state when I was in London, I was going into like hospital, like I must be diabetic or like, I've got a heart problem because I'd never learned or experienced what anxiety was. I went through all these tests and they were like, no, like you just have general anxiety disorder. And I was like, what? And then the more I started to speak to people, the more they were like, yeah, like I had this journey, and stuff with like intrusive thoughts, like things that are so scary are actually just scary because you feel like you're dealing them with yourself and you're the only person that has it. Whereas, like, pretty much everybody in the world has, like, negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, depression episodes, and I just felt like the more I spoke about it, the more people were then telling me their stories, and it just kind of and I also don't really care what people think about me. So, like, if I'm posting stuff like this and they're like, "Oh, she's attention seeking," or "Oh, that's really weird," like, I don't really care because the people that need it are the people that follow me and the people that come to my classes. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, amazing, amazing. And do you remember, obviously it started up, do you remember the first class, the first time you kind of created a post and said, this is what I'm doing, come along? And do you remember that first class and how it all
Yeah.
started?
Yeah, that's so weird. I haven't thought about that before. Like thought back to that. So my friend at the time was actually doing social media and she said to me, like, you should jump on camera. I was like, what? Like, that's terrifying the first time. And you just feel like an idiot, like sat talking to your camera. But I did it and it was probably like the most awkward thing people have ever watched, like on the first time. But I feel like the more you do it, the more you connect with people and I think the more that people know you, the more that people are gonna buy into your business because they trust you. Um, so that was I jumped on stories and I basically explained what the class was about and I really pushed that, like there's no experience needed. You can literally have two left feet and jump on the spot at Mind and Moves and we'll cheer. Like it's not like, you don't have to be a good dancer. And in the process, people have become really good, confident dancers, which is like a bonus, like a plus. Um, but yeah, so I did that and I did half mindfulness. I did half like doing release forms and releasing any self-doubt or criticism. And then we just learned a short choreo. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, the more you do it, I think it just becomes like, I don't even really plan my classes now. I just rock up and I'm like, right, guys, like today we're doing this, because it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Like just looking back and knowing that you were nervous about the class that you really wanted to start and see how far you've come as well. And in terms, you mentioned it there, it's not all about being a great dancer, it's more about socializing and coming out and seeing people. But how good is it when you see a dancer develop as their teacher as well?
Yeah, it's the best. Like, I cry quite often in class because it's not, for me, again, it's not really about that they're becoming good at dancing. It's that they're feeling like they're worthy, like, they're picking it up and they'll be like, "Oh my God, like I recorded for my first time." And like you just see people come from like girls to women in like the space of like 3, 4 months. And then, they'll tell me at work, people would be like, "Oh my God, I've noticed such a difference in you." And then they start like feeling inspired to do like their own things. Like some people have been confident to start like PT courses, and people have been like, and I think for women, it's more about like feeling comfortable in your own body, especially like mums that come in. New mums are like adjusting to their new body and accepting things might have changed, but it's like reconnecting to the new version of yourself and celebrating that. So for me, it's more like amazing to see people feeling more confident, because like what defines a good dancer? Like someone might not have like the best pointed toes, but they could be mesmerizing. Do you know what I mean? Like I just think confidence is what I go for rather than like a better dancer.
Yeah. Good answer and amazing to look at it in that way. And I, I've had plenty of people on this podcast before, and always kind of comes hand in hand mental health and sport, being active. How
Mm.
good is dancing in terms of the physical side of things, helping the mental at the same time?
Um, I think mentally, I think again, it's time, and I think because a lot of us are always on our phones.
Yeah,
It's a time to just like, especially if you work from your phone like me. Like I feel like I should be cross-eyed with square eyes, but I think time away from real life is already helping your mental health, because you're just focusing on one thing. Your brain kind of stops because you're trying to pick up the choreo. Um, and I also think for women's mental health, in the sense of, again, body image, being in a room filled with, completely different body shapes. Like I've had people message me like, "Hey, like I really want to come to class, but I'm a plus size. Like, is that okay?" And I'm like, "Is that even a question?"
yeah,
Like it upsets me that that's a question, like in our, you know. So I'm like, "Yeah, come." They come and it's like they're like, "I've never felt more accepted." And I think because we see on social media, we see face-tuned versions of people, we see angled versions of women. So to see like different body types in front of you moving and dancing, it's like, okay, so I used to hate like the back of my legs. And then I see like women with the exact same legs and I'm like, God, they look so good. They look so sexy. And I'm like, actually, no, I really like that. So I think mental health wise, it helps us to celebrate ourselves by celebrating another woman and seeing how like beautiful they can look.
yeah, absolutely. And I want to just mention, obviously, we've touched on the social media side of the business and how good it's doing, especially on Instagram, is where I see it. Um, recently, I think it was yesterday, you did a new post, a group kind of video, and
Yeah.
that's what kind of hits me about what you're doing. A lot of it is group dancing and group dancers. How
Mm.
how enjoyable is that to dance with all these different girls?
It's so fun because it's just like inner child work. Like it just feels like one of the girls put in the group chat, because we've got like a WhatsApp and group chats with all the M&M girls in, and she was like, I love having fun with you. Like it's just like we're dancing around having fun in our 20s. Like it's, do you know what I mean? Like it's when you should be like full adulting, you just have this hour or two to just make up a dance like you do when you're a kid and have fun. And yeah, there's such a big part of Mind and Moves is definitely like the community sisterhood side of it. Like My clients, I have no business and friendship. Like it's all just kind of merged. Like some might argue that's unprofessional, but my clients are like my best friends. They've
Yeah,
become like my bestest friends. So yeah, I think it's nice, especially, and it's nice because there's so many different women from so many different walks of life where like if you met them, you probably wouldn't be friends with them.
yeah,
But I think everyone just kind of knows that like when you walk in the room, like you have to accept them. You have to accept everyone for who they are, and we all just get along, which is really nice.
yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. In terms of Mind and Moves itself, it's obviously not just in Jersey you've taught London, Liverpool. What's been your highlight so far?
I love the Liverpool girls. I have to say they're so extra. They've like got a glass of wine. They're coming in. They're loud. They're scouse. So I have the best time up there. Like I love the girls up there. Equally love my London. London and Jersey feels like a very similar vibe. Um, Again, it's nice because they say it's the only class they have where they feel they can go without feeling like they have to be good and kind of start from the bottom. But highlight wise, dancing, I think it's been the first retreat I've done in Corfu. That was magic. That was, in the outside in the sun choreographing rather than in a studio. That was really nice.
Yeah. How different is that going abroad and going somewhere else that you don't know as well, but to go and teach somewhere sunny, somewhere that's automatically making people feel good anyway. But how much did you enjoy that?
It was amazing. It was so nice, and it was because I think like pretty much five of the girls again have become like my really good friends. So it just felt like a girls' holiday, to be honest. And then another girl that joined last minute, um, just slotted right in. So it was like, and it's really rare to be in a group of women and not have like, oh God, she's doing this today, or oh God, isn't she annoying you? Like I've never experienced that. And it's so nice to have everyone together,
Yeah,
you know, completely different people getting along and just caring for one another. And I think the dancing was great in Corfu, but I actually think the highlight was the mindfulness and manifestation because I got us this beautiful villa that like looked out onto like it was so like serene. It was beautiful. So to sit there and meditate as the sun was coming up, like it was, yeah, it was different. It was lovely.
amazing, amazing. In terms of the future plans, how big do you want Mind and Moves to be, and how many people do you want to reach out to as well?
So I don't really know because like my plan was never really to grow it. Like it just kind of happened. Well, obviously it didn't just happen. I put a lot of hard work in, but
Yeah,
I didn't sit down and think like, oh, I want to be this big. I want to have this many followers. It just kind of, yeah, it just kind of happened. But I think, yeah, to just keep growing, keep growing and glowing. I don't like to put pressure on myself.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I just like to let it go. But I have got a very exciting, I don't know if I can say too much. I've got a very exciting event coming up in the UK. So that's going to be another big, I think that will reach out to a lot of people that don't already follow me. So yeah, that one's exciting.
One to watch, one to watch.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of if people want to start and maybe watch this or seen your Instagram, seen your TikTok and what have you, how much would you encourage them to start and how can they reach out to you as well?
I would encourage anyone and everyone to start Mind Your Moves. Not only because it's my business, but I think I've never had I've never had like a bad experience. I've never had anyone come and have a bad experience. And I think, you know, everyone loves dancing. Everybody loves dancing. And I think the thing about it is that the pressure as well to be good at it. So I think everyone should come and give it a go. And I know anxiety, a lot of the time people will message or see me on nights out in Jersey and be like, I really want to come to your classes, but I'm so anxious. And I think once you get in the door, it's actually just getting there. that's the scary part. And then once you're there, like, we really take care of you. Like, we cater to anxiety attacks. We cater to, people being like, I just need some time out. Like, we all help each other out. We all look after each other. And to get in touch, you literally just drop us a message on Instagram, an inbox on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. Final kind of question from me. How proud are you of yourself and how far Mind and Moves has gone? Obviously, you said you didn't set out for it to grow as much as it has, but you've obviously worked hard at it and you've built a community and a family. How proud are you of that?
Yeah, I'm very proud. I am. I'm really, really proud. And more like, again, collectively proud of everyone that's involved and everyone that supports it. And I don't know what I'd do without them. Like, honestly, I don't know what I would do without the girls that come. So yeah, I feel proud and I'm very grateful that I've met the people that I've met through Minded Moves.
Amazing, amazing, Joelle. That's been really good, really insightful as well. And hopefully people do sign up and give it a go when
Yeah.
they can and if they can. So yeah, thank you for your time and thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant, brilliant. That was another episode of Sportscast Jersey. Another episode is coming soon.